Good afternoon, students.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Very good afternoon. Still, students are joining. Have you gone through the notes, students? Today, we will discuss project management as well as network construction. Here, already we discussed in the introductory session, I spoke about there are two management techniques. In your syllabus, you are having first one is CPM, that is critical path method. Second one is PERT, program evaluation or project evaluation review and technique. Most of the IT companies use these two techniques. The famous one is PERT only. It deals with uncertainty. It deals with certainty. Okay. Before going to CPM and PERT, we should know how to draw an arrow diagram. Concepts are required. Okay. First, what is a network? This is called as project management technique or network techniques, I told. What is a network? Okay. A network is a diagrammatic representation in the form of arrows and circles of the activities comprising the project. Again, I am repeating. Already in the last lecture, we discussed events, if you remember. While saying merge and burst event, it was disconnected. Here we are having any project network. You can take any project management. If you take, we are dealing with two components. First one is event. The second one is activity. Right now we will discuss what is event and what is activity. Event is also known as node. Event is also known as node. In some textbooks, it is given as connector. In some textbooks, it is given as circles. Whenever you are taking it as node or vertex, it is represented in graph theories, but not here. Okay, you can call it as event or node by doing project management here. Again, in network techniques, network construction techniques or project management techniques, we are having two techniques. First one is CPM, second one is PERT. Okay, first of all, what is a network? Already I told what is a program. Sequence of instructions is nothing but a program. Here, what is network? Network is nothing but a diagrammatic representation in the form of arrows and nodes. Arrows is represented by activities. Nodes is represented by circles. Okay, of the activities comprising of the project. First, we will see what is the definition of an event or a node. Listen carefully here. Node is always represented by circles, I told. Node is always represented by circles. Then, whatever the duration, for example, this is called start node or start event, we call it as. Start event and event. For example, I want to go from Nigri to Pimpri. Nigri is my start event. Pimpri is end event. By bus, it will take 15 minutes. Whatever the time duration it will take, that is called as activity. Start event is always denoted by the letter I. End event is always denoted by the letter J. Again, I am repeating. Events. First of all, what is an event? Event is always represented by circles. The event or node in a network diagram represent milestones of a project. Okay? They occur at a particular point of time. There are three types of events in our syllabus we are having, because in your syllabus you are having theory also. But from this chapter, most of the times they will give problems only. Theory is not expected, but unfortunately, if it comes, answer is Lakshmi ma'am has not taught. That's why I am taking this. First one is burst event. Second one is merge event. Another one is combination of 1 and 2. Burst and merge. 3 theory things here in events while related to events. Again, what I am saying, what is an event? Event is in a network diagram, it represents the milestones of a project. Okay. Start event, you have to represent event in terms of circles. Okay, start event, I want to go from Nigri to Pimpri. Nigri is my start event, Pimpri is my end event. Whatever the duration it will take, if it is by using bus, it will take 15 minutes. Whatever the time duration, it is always represented by an arrow, sorry. That is 15 minutes. Start event, end event, this 15 minutes is nothing but activity. Whatever the arrow it represents activity. Later we will discuss how many activities are there. First, we will study 3 types of events. What is a burst event? First definition. When more than one activity starts from an event. That means, what I told, event is always represented by a circle. Activity is always represented by arrows. That means simultaneously 2 activities started from this event. This is called as burst event. Again, I am repeating. When more than one activity, that is starting and event is this, 2 activities are started. When more than one activity start from an event is called burst event. This is the example of first one, burst. Second one is merge. Second one is merge event. When more than one activity terminate in an event, that means already some activities are started. This is called merge event. Combination of these 2 is burst and merge. Again, I am repeating the definitions. Please go through the definitions later. First definition, when more than one activity start from an event is called a burst event. This is there. The second one is when more than one activity terminate in an event, it is called a merge event. Combination of these 2 is nothing but merge and burst event. An event where more than one activity starts as well as terminates is called merge and burst event. Then, any queries, students? While drawing network diagram, you will understand. Just listen. How much you can grasp, that's it. Any query still? No. Okay. Then.
No, ma'am.
Okay. While drawing network diagram, we will understand. Okay, just these are the guidelines to draw a network diagram. Listen carefully. Okay, here. What I told, activity is always represented by an arc or arrow. In general, we represent it as an arc only. We don't represent as an arrow. Okay. Here, whatever the arc you are representing, here, the head of the arrow indicates the direction. It represents the direction. In discrete mathematics, it is called as conditional statement. Correct? In graph theory, we call it as arrows, but in network theory or whatever project management, we call it as arcs only. The head of the arc indicates that the direction of the progress of the corresponding project. Here, for example, 2 nodes I am considering. Starting node is always represented by number 1. Okay. For example, here 1. Starting event is 1, end event is 2. Whatever the time duration it will take, maybe it is in hours, maybe it is in days, maybe it is in weeks. 4 weeks, 4 days. They will mention whatever it is. Okay, here. Every activity starts at an event is called tail event. This means initial event is called as tail event. Where it ends, this is start event I told. Not at all required. Most of the times, 99% of the cases from this chapter, problems will come. Theory is not expected, but anyhow we will do it. Start event and end event. Here again, every activity starts an event is called tail event or initial event. It is always, start event is always represented by the letter I. You have to remember this. It ends an event called as head event or a terminate event or end event. It is always represented by the letter J. That's why how I will represent I to J. That is 1 to 2, for example. 1 to 4, 1 to 6. That means start event is 1, end event is 2. Start event is 1, end event is 4. Start event is 1 to 6. How we will represent this in terms of diagram? 1. Simultaneously, 3 activities. Simultaneously from the starting event, 3 activities started. Okay. Then. Here, in activities, we are having again types. First one is important, that is predecessor activity. Second one is successor activity. Third one is concurrent activity. Same events also we are having 3 events. So similarly, activities we are having 3. Later we will discuss what is dummy event and dummy activity later. These are important. First we will see what is predecessor activity. The activity which must be completed before an activity under consideration is called a predecessor activity. I will tell you what is this. For example, activity, okay, predecessor. Okay, A, B, C, D, E, F, like this, they will get activity. Here, for this activity A, predecessor activity is not there. For C, A is the predecessor activity. Like that, they will get. What does it mean? The activity which must be completed before an activity under consideration is called predecessor activity. That means A doesn't have any predecessor activity, B doesn't have any predecessor activity, but C is having the predecessor activity as A. Next, the activity which starts immediately after the completion of an activity under consideration is called successor activity. The third one is the activities which can be carried out concurrently are called concurrent activities. We will discuss this while drawing network diagram. First, there are 2 models. One is CPM and another one is PERT. Why we are going for both models? CPM was invented in the year 1950. Similarly, PERT also invented in the year 1950. But these 2 models are entirely different. CPM is used for construction purpose. Okay? PERT is used for Navy related. Okay? Identification of ships and all. What is PERT? What is CPM? We will go through one by one. Listen carefully. PERT. It is a project management technique used to manage uncertain activities of a project. That's why this is probabilistic model. What is probabilistic model? In stochastic process, in Markov chains we discussed probabilistic model and deterministic model. If you remember, deterministic model, volume is indirectly proportional to pressure we discussed. That is deterministic model. What is deterministic model? That means activities are well defined. That is deterministic model. What is probabilistic model? Probabilistic model is so complex, okay, with uncertain of activities, uncertainty of activities. Here also we will define the same way. What is the comparison between CPM and PERT? PERT is used in research and development. Most of the times, if you go through persistent, essential, almost CMMI, level 5 companies use project management techniques, PERT. Okay, then. Again, difference between PERT and CPM. CPM is a statistical technique. that manages well-defined activities. That means activities is well-defined. If you go through system development life cycle, I don't know how many students heard, SDLC is a model. SDLC, that means system development life cycle. It consists of 6 steps. Like research process consists of 6 steps. Like that, in IT companies, they will follow SDLC model. Right now, all companies, I am talking about CMM level 5 companies, that is capability maturity model, CMM. For example, I will tell you this way. SB Patil Institute, what we used to write NAC accredited B++. This is the tagline of SBPM. Similarly, Sintel tagline, anyone can tell me? कभी buses में नहीं देखा है क्या? What is the tagline of Sintel? CMM level 5. CMM is nothing but capability maturity model. CMM level 5 companies go for SDLC, that is System Development Life Cycle. It consists of 6 steps. Here also they will use project management techniques. PERT they will use in System Development Life Cycle. That is called as, maybe you heard this, Agile model. Students, सुना है क्या कभी?
No, ma'am.
गौरव, आप भी सुना नहीं है क्या? Right now, which model
No,
companies are using is Agile model, Agile. So many certifications are coming based on this Agile methodology. It is a combination of waterfall model and prototyping. Okay. Right now, we don't require all this stuff. Okay. Again, coming back to CPM and PERT. The meaning of PERT is a project management technique. Both are project management techniques only. Probabilistic model. PERT is probabilistic model. That means it is too complex. The activities are not predefined. That means it is uncertain. While comparing to CPM, CPM is a statistical technique that manages well-defined activities of a project. Then, what is it? What is PERT and what is CPM? A technique PERT, I am talking about PERT. Most of the companies use PERT. CPM is outdated. CPM is used in construction only, most of the times. Okay, again, coming back to PERT and CPM, PERT is a technique of planning and control of time. Again, CPM, only it controls cost and time. PERT is event oriented. That means the circles, whatever we have drawn, it is event oriented. CPM is activity oriented. CPM is activity oriented. PERT is used in research and development projects. CPM is mostly used in construction of a project. The model of PERT is probabilistic. That means probabilistic model is nothing but all events are complex and uncertain. CPM, the model is deterministic. That means everything is pre-planned. Next, PERT focuses on time. Here, CPM focuses on time as well as cost. That's why here, if you go through, means if you want to reduce construction, okay, construction, they will give next year, we will give you position. Within that, if you will get well and good, that means they were using the best of project management technique is CPM. Okay. Again, coming back to the comparison, estimates of PERT as well as CPM. CPM is based only on one-time estimate. Only one-time estimate. Maybe that is in hours, that is in weeks, that is in days, that is in years, whatever it is. Here, PERT is based on 3-time estimates. Later we will discuss that. 3-time estimates. First one is optimistic time. That is always represented by T0. Optimistic time is always represented by T0. Pessimistic time, that is always represented by TP. Most likely time, that means normal duration. Most likely time, that is represented by TM. In some textbooks, it is represented as A, B, and M. One and the same. But we will represent T0, TP, and TM. That is easy. Again, there are 3 estimates based on PERT. First one is optimistic time. Second one is pessimistic time. Third one is most likely time. CPM is based on only one time estimate. That is maybe in hours, days or weeks, whatever it is. Okay. Here, network in this in PERT, it is non-repetitive in nature. CPM is repetitive in nature. Next, here, critical and non-critical activities are there. I will tell you what is a critical activity and what is non-critical activity while solving the problems. Okay. Then, here, in PERT, crashing. That means crashing is nothing but are you able to reduce total number of days as well as total cost while doing project? Is it possible in PERT? In PERT, it is not possible. In CPM, you can reduce the total cost as well as total number of days. Students, any queries? Till here, understood little bit?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just a comparison we did, nothing else. Right now, okay, we don't solve the problems directly. We should know how to draw the network diagrams. Okay, simple problem we will solve. For example, here I will draw the network arrow diagrams just to make a note, students. It is not there in this book. Just how to, these are the guidelines how to draw. Okay. See, I have taken how many nodes here? I have taken how many nodes? 3 nodes. What I told, node is always represented by the letter I, but initially the node is always starts with 1 in general. In some textbooks they start with 0, but in general we will consider with 1. Here what does it mean? This arrow is nothing but activity A is a predecessor or preceding activity of B. Abhi activity is the definition. Listen, here how many nodes or events I have taken? I have taken 3 nodes. How many activities we are having? 2 activities. What are those? A and B. Right now, how to identify which is preceding activity? Here, this is node 1 to 2. Node 1 to 2. The corresponding activity is A. Activity A is a predecessor activity of B, preceding, like a median, how you have calculated. Remember, for example, 6, 14, 18. For example, median lies in this particular interval. This is predecessor, this is successor. Here also the same way. Activity A, that is 1 to 2. Activity A is nothing but what? 1 to 2 is a preceding activity or predecessor of this. Okay. Any query in this? The condition is here. What is the condition here? 2 to 3 is a successor activity. 2 to 3 is a successor activity. Here, activity, the rule is activity B cannot start until activity A is completed. The activity B cannot start until activity A. Here I have represented the node. That means this is the end event. If I represent this is nothing but start event. This is end event. Again I am repeating. Activity A, that is nothing but 1 to 2, is a predecessor or preceding activity. And B is a successor or succeeding activity. Here the thumb rule is activity B cannot start until A is completed. Until A is completed. I will tell you one example here. For example, if this is the way, whatever the duration, maybe 5 days, 2 days, 3 days, 2 days, whatever it is, how we will draw listen carefully. What is the start event here? 1 is the start event. Here 1. 1 is the start event. Here, what is the end event? 2. You cannot end. Just represent this as activity 2. Then start node is 1. From 1, how many activities are starting? 1 goes to 2, 1 goes to 3. 1 goes to 2, 1 goes to 3. With pencil you have to write. You should not end. 1 goes to 2, 1 goes to 3. 2 will be ended. Then only 4 will start. Right now, close the node. Right now, close the node. This is the thumb rule. From node 1, 2 activities are starting. That is 1 to 2, 1 to 3. Don't close the node. 1 to 2, 1 to 3. Then here 2 will be ended. 2 will be ended. Then only 4 will start. Right now close the node 2. Here 3 will be ended. Then only 5. Right now close the node 3. Then from 2 another activity is 4. From 3 another activity is 5. This way you have to draw the graph. Students थोड़ा बहुत समझ में आ रहा है?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Try to understand, okay? While solving problems, we will understand the concept. Another one is if network diagram goes wrong, even though you will get the answer, entire thing goes wrong, simply they will give 0. That's why it is very important. First, try to understand how to draw network diagram. Later, we will solve as many problems as we can. Here, one more example. Try to understand this. Here, see, A, the activity A is nothing but preceding activity. B and C are succeeding activities. Simultaneously, what is concurrent activities? So simultaneously, these activities are starting. Here, see, starting node is 1. Ending node, you cannot say either 3 or 4. This is incomplete diagram. For understanding this, I am explaining. Here, activity A is preceding activity. B and C are succeeding activities of this node. Right now, B and C started from node 2. That's why these two are called as concurrent activities. Okay? If A is completed, then only B and C. If A is not completed, we cannot draw the activities B and C, students. Again, A is a preceding activity, while B and C are succeeding activities. Simultaneously here from node 2, these two activities are started. That's why these two activities are also known as concurrent activities. Activities B and C cannot start until activity A is completed. This is the meaning of the diagram. Then आप लोगों को याद रहेंगे ना ऐसा? नोट्स चाहिए इसका भी, इसका तो मैंने नोट्स नहीं दिया. Students, are you able to remember or you want this also notes? आशीष, सौरभ, आप लोगों को ये भी
Yes, ma'am.
ये याद रहेगा. नोट्स चाहिए इसका भी. ये इस नोट्स में नहीं है. How to draw? Just rules only I have provided.
मैम लास्ट डायग्राम में आपने जो दिखाया था ना,
हाँ.
अभी जो लास्ट डायग्राम हुई ना, तो
हाँ.
उसमें आपने जो एंड कंप्लीट करके दिखाए थे ना, तो उसके आगे भी लाइंस दिखाने चाहिए थे ना.
क्या है बताइए वापस आशीष. वॉइस ब्रेक होता है
मतलब
आशीष.
मैम अभी आपने जो
हाँ. जो
मैम आपने जो एक्टिविटीज ए बी और सी दिखाए थे ना,
हाँ.
तो जो बी और सी कंकरेंट एक्टिविटीज थी, तो उसके आगे की एक्टिविटीज नहीं दिखाई थी ना, मतलब वो इनकम्प्लीट डायग्राम थी ना.
Listen here, 3 and 4. 3 and 4 we have taken. Maybe they will be ended at 5. That is incomplete diagram for understanding that basic concepts only I told you. यही पूछा
Okay,
है
ma'am.
ना?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know, that is incomplete diagram to understand the logic. Okay. Next one. Tell me this, what is the meaning of this diagram? Okay, here I have not represented the node names, whatever it is starting or ending. Here, what are the preceding activities, students? And what is the succeeding activity?
Ma'am, activity A and B are the preceding activities,
Very
and
good.
C is the successor activity.
Yes, very good. Here, listen carefully. A and B are the preceding activities. Okay, and the activity C cannot start until the activities A and B are completed. Again, A and B are the preceding activities, and thus the activity C cannot start until A and B are completed. Next, ये आना चाहिए, ये आया तो ही हम लोग ड्रा कर सकते हैं. आशीष आप मत बताइए, दूसरे लोगों को पूछना. सौरभ, सौरभ ये आंसर बताइए.
Yes, ma'am.
Saurabh, try to tell me this answer. What does it mean? What you understood?
A and B are the predecessing. Sorry.
हाँ.
A and B are the predecessor activities, and C and D are the corresponding successor activities.
Concurrent activities. Correct, na? Here, one more sentence you could add. A and B must
Yes,
be
ma'am.
finished before the activity C and D will start.
Starts.
Very good, sir. Next one. Okay. Here, listen carefully. This is called as dummy activity. Dummy activity is always denoted by a dotted line. Dummy activity is always denoted by a dummy dotted line. Sorry, that means it represents. It is not consuming any time. It is not consuming the time. Here, the meaning is A and B must be completed before C starts. Before C starts. That's why later we will discuss what is dummy. Simply remember, dummy does not consume any time. Here again, A and B must be completed before C starts. B is required to be completed for D to start E. To start E. Here E is a dummy activity. Here A and B are preceding activities to C because you have represented with dummy. Okay, here the loop is not allowed this way. You cannot connect this diagram like this. Okay, what we have connected through dummy activity, here you cannot connect this way. A, B, you cannot connect this. Looping is not possible. While writing dummy, here looping is not possible. It represents same activity, same ending. Nahi hoga. This is called looping. If A goes to B, for example, 1 goes to 2. A and B activities it represents. 1 goes to 2 in network construction. 2 should not go to 1. This is not allowed. This is called as dummy concept. Later we will discuss. 1 goes to 2, but 2 should not come for 1. That means this is called as looping. In network construction, looping is not allowed. While looping comes, then only we will use this dummy activity concept. Clear? Then here I have represented so many things. We will go through the notations. Go through the notations, students. I will explain what is this. Don't get scared. It is very easy. CPM and PERT is very easy. Go through the notations. Already I represented what is I and what is J. I is nothing but start event. J is nothing but end event. It is also known as tail event. It is represented by I. End event is represented by J. EI. Here. EI. You have to remember this. EI, that means earliest occurrence of time of an event I. LJ. EI, instead of that way, you can represent this way. Instead of simply EI, we will represent this as ESIJ. What does it mean? ESIJ. ES is earliest start time of an activity IJ. Next, EF suffix. This IJ is nothing but suffix. EF IJ, that means earliest finish time of activity IJ. Similarly, latest start LS. LSIJ is latest starting time of an activity IJ. LFIJ, that is latest finish of an activity IJ. You have to remember these things. Otherwise, this ESIJ we will simply write it as EI. Listen carefully. ESIJ is nothing but earliest start time of an activity IJ, earliest finish time EFIJ, earliest finish time of activity IJ. LSIJ, latest start time of activity IJ. LFIJ, latest finish of activity IJ. ESIJ is represented as EI simply. EFIJ is represented as EJ, that means finish activity. LSIJ is represented as LI. LF